comments and rules on public comments or citizens?
First thing is, it's item 2 on your agenda, is that to announce an executive session that the board had on May 18th, 2023, and in that executive session, we discussed litigation and real estate matters. And this, just so that everybody knows, this should have been announced at our last meeting. We failed to do that, and we're correcting that issue right now to make sure we announce it for everybody. Coming up on the agenda is public comment. We did this last meeting, we're just gonna do it again. What we ask everybody to do is, if you're a township resident or a taxpayer, you have a right to make public comment. It is limited to 3 minutes. We are recording. What we do is ask you to come up to the front, state your name, as well as your address. And just so you know, we stated this many times before, is that it is time for comment. It's not for questions in a debate. You can state questions, but you may not get answers this evening. This is just for comments. It's not for advice on any issues, and we ask that you refrain from using abusive or profane language. And just know that if you violate the rules, we are recording again, and we will seek to remove people that have disruptive behavior.
Thank you. At that time, are there any comments on the agenda items? And of course, if you like, you can make those comments on the agenda. Yes?
It's for the next item, the approvals of minutes. I just wanna make sure I have the opportunity to talk during approvals of minutes, or I can make my comment now.
Okay, make your comment.
Okay, on the bottom of
Can you come on up, please?
Jim Kapinski, 1958 Yarnell Road. Regarding the minutes on the page of, bottom of page 4, Jim Kapinski. It says, criticizing elected officials for changing their minds. Far from it. I made the comment that everybody changes their minds. I talked about married couples getting married and 2 years later getting divorced. What I criticized was the letter in the Upper Pottsgrove Journal, which was formed by Hank, Trace, and Don, that criticized, actually called Kathy a hypocrite for changing her mind. I was not criticizing elected officials for changing their minds. I was criticizing the elected officials that called Kathy a hypocrite for changing her minds that everybody has the right to do. Thank you.
Okay, minutes, they're in your packet. I'll need a motion to approve the minutes.
I have a question on that. I have 2 sets of minutes here. Okay, one that was sent out to midweek last week and one Friday I received. Under discussion and consideration, approval for resolution to establish a building site selection committee. The first one pretty much explains our meeting last week, and we spent 30, 40 minutes hashing everything out and voting on it. The second one is completely different than I thought that our meeting was last week. On the second one, they're actually saying that we have to vote again after the resolution was gone. Well, we voted on the last meeting, and we have a resolution. We have a committee. We've had a committee for a long time now. 2 days later, I was notified that there is no committee anymore. So I'd like to know how and where and who made the change.
So I made the change, and it was because the way we left it at that meeting, there wasn't a resolution. What a resolution means is it's a writing, so that's a writing to be adopted. If you recall, there was one drafted at the meeting last month. Then there was discussion which led to the fact that writing that we had in front of us, there was no consensus to approve that writing. So.
Why did we even vote on it?
Well, because what we wanted to do was, if we could get the committee up and running, now we did not have to wait for tonight to get it up and running, okay? So what we did is we went through terms that you would want that resolution, I then drafted that resolution, and there was not a meeting of the minds to get 3 signatures on that resolution.
There were already five,
Well,
Five
there's
of us voted.
5 on the verbal. Once I wrote it down, there was not 5, there was not 3.
Verbal to written.
Well, that's what a resolution means. Resolution means it's in writing.
Well, I understand that.
So
but
you
we
could have,
changed it.
done a motion, however, a motion would not have satisfied Resolution 703, which required, commissioners to be on committees had to be by ordinance or resolution. So that's why it had to be a resolution.
Well, so do we revert it back to the regular, terms of, the committee?
There wasn't any regular terms of the committee.
Oh, we worked on this together, Kathy, I, and Michelle, and we were told what we could do and what we couldn't do.
I understand that, but then someone pointed out 703 did not allow the 2 of you
Right.
on the committee unless we did it by resolution. So that led to us writing a
You need
resolution.
a resolution if you don't vote, you're not a vote.
Yeah, because you guys are on
You
it.
told me last time that.
No, if you're on the
It's
committee,
tape. It's on tape.
if you're
I said,
on the
we're
committee-
not voting.
I'm
We're
not gonna fight,
voting.
I don't mean to fight with you or talk over you, I apologize for that, okay?
Okay, if we're non-voting,
Mhm.
do we need a resolution? And you answered me no.
If you're just liaisons and you're not on the committee, then no. However, the discussion was you are on the committee, not that you're just liaisons.
That wasn't the discussion.
I
It
understand.
wasn't. So, okay,
So,
my
so,
question's
so,
answered.
So we went through all that, and everybody sat here for 30, 40 minutes, worked everything out, and we don't have a committee. It's-
correct.
Okay.
More discussion. Did I get a motion on the minutes?
And to be clear, it's the second version.
That's the second version.
Make motion to approve the minutes with the change to Mr. Kapinski's comments.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Against?
Nay.
Hey,
Motion carries 3-2. Payment of bills. Payment of bills in your packet. I'll need a motion on the bills.
I'll make the motion to pay the bill list July 17th, 2023.
We can't hear you.
I'll make the motion to pay the bill list for July 17th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I'll second that for $342,959.17.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Sorry, you have to share my phone. Fix the-
Moving to the reports. Township Administration, Michelle?
My report is in your packet. My report is in your packet, just a couple things I wanna highlight, to clarify some information that's on social media, that I decided not to comment on, because I was advised by legal counsel not to do so, but I am gonna bring it up here in the public meeting. Please be aware that Linda Coleman has retired from Upper Pottsgrove Township. She did not resign, so I just wanna make that clear, and I want that in the minutes, please. Also, I wanna advise the commissioners that, as you know, we're part of the Pennsylvania Municipal Health Insurance Cooperative for our health, dental, and vision care. And as you know, some years we get a surplus, some years we don't. The last year we did not, but this year we did get our first half of that payment in the amount of $24,407. Also, just please be aware of all the zoning hearing board applications we have. And then I did include my spreadsheet, as I normally do, regarding all the grants that the township has received and where they're at, as well as litigation costs in regard to the new municipal complex and also the artisan litigation. Also, the financial report, if you have any questions, is in your packet as well for June 30th, 2023.
Questions for the Township Manager?
down here, Michelle, the, ARPA funds, and this is still concerning the retention basins that we need, is that correct?
Yes, so the ARPA funds that we received, were a total of $604,000 and some change. So at your previous meeting, you authorized $300,000 of those funds to complete the stormwater walk on Pine Ford Road. In addition, you do have the authority, if you so decide in the future, to use the ARPA funds for the MS4, which is to build 2 detention basins.
So we
Yes.
still have to do that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Any more questions? Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Chief of Police, Jim?
Good evening, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. Just like to highlight a couple of things. First is, while I hope to make a more formal recognition, I'd like to recognize Officer Farrell and Zosky. They responded to a residence on Fallbrook Lane for an individual in cardiac arrest. Officer Farrell started CPR while Officer Zosky retrieved the AED. A shock was administered, and the individual regained a pulse and began breathing. After several minutes, the individual was talking, was transported to the hospital. So I want to recognize Officers Zosky and Farrell for their work there. And hopefully in the next couple months, there'll be a more formal recognition as far as that. I'd also like to highlight that the department is working on the current eligibility list with the goal of filling the current vacancies. My hope is that in August or September, we'll be able to do a badge presentation for 2 officers.
Questions for the chief? Thanks, Jim. Public Works is in your, report is in your packet. Chad's not here this evening. Michelle, do you have anything to add to it?
No, I don't have anything to add, Chad, just that Chad's not here because he's on vacation, which he
Okay. Commissioners have questions, please get those to Michelle. Township Solicitor, Eric.
No report, but we will be asking for an executive session on real estate litigation and personnel issues.
Tonight.
Yes.
All right, engineers, in your packet, you got the standard reports on the development process and also the requests. Michelle, anything to add on those?
just as I always point out to the board on the building and zoning report, let me get the page number here, pages 6 and 7. We do have a lot of outstanding notices of violation. Again, just be aware of those in the event that we do have to move forward with citations. We typically don't do that. We do try our best to work with the property owners to rectify the situation.
Questions? Tax collector report, in your packet, you have tax collector report both for fire and the township. Any questions on that? Committee reports, open space and rec.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. We had a brief meeting. We discussed a sign proposal for Tower Health for an upgrade at the Prout Farm Gardens. We had some questions on that, so we're gonna discuss that with them in a future meeting. We also discussed and recommended approval of funding the park for the 2024-28 term. My apologies, I jumped the gun a little bit. I listed this for action requested of the commissioners this evening, but it's actually not on your agenda. It's not due yet, so we don't need anything on that. And also on the note, the board noted outstanding performance of the Public Works Department. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Questions for Drew? Fire and ambulance, Don is not here tonight. The reports are in your packet as well, and if you have questions, we can get those over to Michelle, she can get those to Don.
I just want to report to the board that I am working with Don to try to rectify some of the situations upstairs. I am going to be moving forward with obtaining quotes to fix the rest of the roof that wasn't fixed during the water remediation. However, those quotes will have to come back to the board because that's above what I can authorize. As well as, I do have an alternative option that I haven't spoken with Don about yet for, the fact that there's no AC upstairs, but let Don know I'll speak with him soon.
Okay, I hear you.
Oh, okay, I didn't see you there.
I just didn't wanna switch, Matt could've read. The one other thing, it's also in your packet, but,
We are waiting on a grant and/or donations for smoke detectors. We're going to do a smoke detector blitz for people that do not have smoke detectors in their homes currently, so we don't have any kind of issues down the line. So we'll be announcing that as soon as we start getting donations for that.
Thanks. Any questions for fire? Thank you. On your agenda for new business, you see new business A and B, those are two presentations, so we're gonna go ahead and move those up so the presenters can do that. There's no actions on our part, but it's informational for us. So if Master Ventures wanna come up